Okay, here is my almond cake I made for get together yesterday. Fresh whipped cream, no sugar added. It's beaten, but it's a little soggy today, or a little loose. And this is the leftover. Almond paste, almonds, flour, butter, sugar, little triple sec. It was a magazine, or it was from People magazine years ago. My mom and I made it, and it's so good. Just wanted to share that with you because it's so yummy. All right, there you go. This is why I talk about desserts, because they make me happy and they stick in my head and my waist. Thanks for coming back. Thank you for waiting. That was delicious. My name's Diane, and you've arrived at ArtsyWisdom. I'm a tarot card reader. I do astrology, hypnotherapist, life coach, and some of my visions, when I do have visions, I meditate on current events, politics, countries, people, things, and I get images and I try to decipher those and I share them with you. And I love that I can bring this generally positive energy into the world. That's my goal, and to be authentic. And I also do personal readings. I am a hypnotherapist, like I said, and it's remote. I can do past life regression, which has helped me tremendously on different things, because a lot of times those previous incarnations show up in your life in the present time, and you don't realize why you do something, and you have these habits and thoughts and stuff, and sometimes they're regarding a past life for entertainment purposes only. Okay, but yes, you can sign up. I have a scheduling link if you're interested in that, or just if you want to read cards or whatever. So today I did some stuff on the States and Europe, and I had a couple of viewers ask about things, and I'm going to share this with you. So they're very interesting, and see what you think. All right, let's get started. All right, well, first I had a lovely viewer, Roland. He emailed me with some questions. The first one was, do you see Russia invading Belgium, France, or any of the European countries? Like, do I see tanks on the road? And that was his question. I didn't see tanks, kind of like you'd see in World War II with them parading down the road. But I did, no, not right now. To answer the quick answers, no, not right now. I don't feel that if anything should happen, it would be of planes dropping things. Not anytime soon. Don't worry. It's all going to be okay. But I do see that Russia is coordinating with other countries. And I saw Europe, the picture of Europe, and I saw them somehow. It's very, very secret. The version, it goes channels. I don't know if it's information technology, spy stuff, supplies, up through the Northeast to over to, I don't know, into the seas that way, in towards China, but it's Northeast, past Poland, up that way. So I saw that there's a channel that goes that way, and there's a lot of, and I saw this before between Germany and Russia, I think. So I don't think this time I'm not worried about Germany, but it's Russia, and maybe it's China, maybe they're sending to India or China or Iran or whatever, but I do see them working. Now, that's the only problem here, is that I do feel like right now Russia's kind of strapped because of the Ukraine war, and they don't have any, a lot of extra funds as much as they would say that they do. So I feel like they are in the process, or they will be working to create an alliance with those autocratic countries. I don't feel like they're ready to do any bombing or anything today, but I think they're working on long-term plans to solidify that alliance. I looked into Putin's energy, and I always feel like my chest hurts when I feel him, when I get inside of his energy. This time it wasn't a cough. Last time it was a cough. This time I just feel like it hurts. I can hear. And I do think he's a little bit delusional, well, not a lot, a little bit. He's a lot delusional. He's got an idea what he wants to go back to the imperial kind of Russia ideal, but he will win the election. I've said this many times. He's going to win the election, but by the end of the year, I think he's going to put somebody in his place that is his, his crony or it'll be a figurehead for him, but he'll be the one basically pulling the strings. I didn't see him stopping in Ukraine. I did see that when earlier, like last month, that they were going to come from the more northeastern part of Ukraine and try that way instead of the other side, or south, I guess it would be, of Ukraine. And I saw them coming up that way. Now, that seems to have lessened. I don't see that heavy in there, but I know that Ukraine is running out of ammunition. So I've heard they're working on a Ukraine support package because they're running out of supplies and ammunition. So I do feel like, because Congress just came back in session this week, I do feel like they're going to get that done. They're going to pass it some way, shape, or form. Yeah, so there's going to be a lot of blaming back and forth in Congress, and there'll be a lot of game playing. But I do think ultimately they're going to put Ukraine and Israel support package together. Not the border, but those two things. If it is the border, it'll be very little bit. It's not going to be a lot. So I do feel Ukraine's going to get a good amount of money, and that'll help them tremendously. They get ammunition and guns or whatever it is they need. And so that is really good. But I do think that Russia won't stop. It's an endless, that he's going to go till, the whole country is drained. Russia is drained of any sort of, resources. Roland also asked me if there's going to be any tsunamis around the UK, France, Belgium, Denmark. And I did. The first one I looked at was Denmark. I do feel like it's so vulnerable. It's right there. So Denmark, Belgium, and then France, that one corner up, between the UK and northwest part before you get to Scandinavia, up that way. I do think it's possible. I don't say tsunami. I would say flooding. I'm going to say flooding. I don't feel a tsunami. A tsunami is due to an earthquake or a massive movement of land shifting and the big pull or the big rush of the energy pushing the water. I did see that AI stocks. I know Invidia is going crazy in the market, and because they're using a lot of AI technology, and I think it's a Japanese company, and their markets. So that's AI, and all the things that use AI are gonna just keep going up and up. Keep investing. They're gonna just the market's gonna grow for AI everything. Nobody asked me that, but that's what that's on. Okay, so when it came to the UK, there was, in the past, I've seen this guy with a striped jacket, very old-fashioned, traditional. And then over time, his pants have been torn in different videos. I keep seeing him changing. And last time I saw him wading over to France. And this time he's back. He's back, and he's like he's resting. He's all disheveled and dirty, and he's back into the UK, and he's sitting on like a rock, like he just got out of the water and he's drying himself on a rock, but he's as big as the country. So, but it reminds me of like a mermaid sitting on a rock and sitting there sunning herself. Same kind of thing. And he was still really grimy, but what the feeling was, I felt he went to France and he got what he needed. And I don't know if England and France are working on some sort of, that's what I felt he did before. It was maybe somebody that's going over there, a diplomat or something, but he's back and I feel better. He feels less stressed out. I do see that France was handing him cookies. So whatever it is, France is obviously giving the UK something, England something. It seems to be going that direction, not the other way around. So maybe they asked for something to help the situation. I did see the immigration really still flowing free, like a whale under the water coming up to the UK from North Africa. and that's still happening. But I felt good that the UK guy was, even though he was a mess, he was starting to almost feel more confident. And France was the same way. I got the feeling that Macron, who represents France to me, and well, there was that guy with the whipped cream, but Macron felt really good. I sensed that they settled with the farming protest or the farmers protest, and I looked it up, and they did. So that was good, and they're coming up with strategies to manage that and climate change and different things. So Macron, or the energy there is a little bit more positive, but I still feel in the European Western countries, there's still going to be a lot of protests, and actually many of them are going to be around Israel and Gaza, the protests regarding that. Earlier I'd said climate, food costs, energy costs, jobs, and immigration. Those are the big things they were going to protest about. And now I feel, in addition, Israel, Gaza. And I'm not going to say anything about that. I'm not going to put in my 2 cents about that at all. Yeah, and Trump has won South Carolina, and in 2 weeks there's going to be the Super Tuesday. I think it's 15 states are going to have the election for the primary. Oh, I'm assuming he'll win to most of those or all of those. Haley is not backed down. Nikki Haley is not backed out. And I think her strategy is that she's going to wait it out as long as she can, although the Koch brothers pulled their money. I think she's going to wait it out so she can be the kind of the runner-up and also be more memorable in 4 years for whatever that happens. I've said in the past, Trump, well, he'll be the nominee, more than likely. I feel like he'll be the nominee. But as time passes between July and November, a lot of things are going to happen where he actually won't be able to be on the ballot in all or some of the states because of he gets convicted of something, one of his many indictments. So it'll be a hodgepodge. It'll be different states doing different things, and the Republican Party will have to come up with a strategy. So Nikki Haley might be thinking that too, like, I'm going to stick around till then. In the past, I saw her as a licorice whip. Oh, and yes, and she wore a sweater with giant black and white stripes on it. And I was like, of course she's a licorice whip. That makes total sense. But looks like Trump is having a hard time gathering enough money to pay for those appeals and to pay off the fines or the judgment from the fraud case on E. Jean Carroll. And I do feel as if he will sell something. I think he will. At first I thought, they might take it, but I don't think so. I think he's going to sell something, and he'll make it seem, and he'll, of course, be a martyr because he has to do it. But I think he will have to sell something and to pay some of that. I looked into what would, I don't think he's going to sell Mar-a-Lago. It's not going to happen. It'll be one of his other places, like not Trump Tower in New York, one of his smaller places. And I know he's got one in Chicago and Atlantic City, New Jersey. Yeah, I don't know, but he's got many, many places all over the world, actually. So he'll sell something, or he get somebody to buy it, one of these countries, and then he'll take that money. So that'll work out. I wondered about his vice president, or his candidate for vice president, that his running mate. And the first person I thought of was Carrie Lake, Arizona. And I think that would be a good possibility for him. I can't think of anybody else, and nothing else came to mind. I don't think he's decided, but I think Carrie Lake might be on his short list. And I'm in Arizona right now, so she's here. Okay, so don't be too scared about the election or anything. I don't think Trump's going to win. I know we have not the greatest choices in this situation. Biden is too old and Trump is Trump. But things will phase out as Pluto moves into Aquarius, and it's going to come back out, and it's going to go back in. We are going to settle down, especially after the first of the year. After January, things will settle down, Pluto and Aquarius, and people would be more focused on humanity than divisiveness. So I asked the angels and my guides what they would say, and they said all is well, which is, I love that, because that's what I always say to you guys. Be not afraid. The world is going through change, and there's more of us. So even though we're going through changes and things are speeding up, there's also more solutions available to us. It just seems like things change so quickly, and our human nature, our way of adjusting to change is still in the, 1,000 years ago, and it's very quick. I did see that eventually the resources will get more stretched out, but we'll come up with strategies to spread those around. I did see that diseases will come, and I don't know, maybe within 50 to 100 years, there's going to be a big reduction. Don't get scared. It's not like, like the plague, but I do feel like nature's way is to eliminate excess. When there's a forest and it's too full, there's a fire. Well, it's just nature's way of balancing. And that's what I think is going to happen. But that's just my thinking, as that's not necessarily a vision. It's more of a sense of knowing about nature and how the earth is. But it'll, in the long run, it'll be what it is. I want to say it's good, but it's, people will die. But, the earth can only support so many people. I did see a lot more forest fires in the north of Canada. There's forest fires all over, or wildfires in Canada last year. So many, it was the worst ever. But this feels like it's up in Nunavut, which is in the Yukon, I think, up in northern Canada, which is kind of really north. I did see more up there. And then, of course, in the prairies. And I saw the farming and the crops. They're going to be really dry and more pests and like fungus or something like that. So the crops won't be as abundant. Hopefully I'm wrong about that. Hopefully I'm wrong about the diseases too. This is for entertainment. I know I just said negative things, but and I think, and so if Russia gathers forces with other countries, I really felt that the U.S. and other allies would really get strong and pull together. So even if they should do that, I felt like the U.S. and Western allies would just give it everything they got. And it would be kind of a blessing in a weird way, because we would be unified again. That's what I think is going to happen if that happens. But see, a lot of these things, I don't feel like that's 2024. I feel like Putin's going to be gone. And a lot of this is possibilities. But we're being protected. Have faith. Ask for guidance, your angels and ancestors and heavenly beings. And stay on the high side. Stay on the level of light, and it can drown out any hate or darkness. And do the best we can as humans. In the past history, in the millennia, we've gotten through a lot. We'll get through it again. So I think that is it on a positive note. And finally, a couple of positive things. Greece legalized same-sex marriage. Isn't that wonderful? Little by little, we're all shifting, evolving a little bit more. And then Japan has created a wooden satellite. It's made out of magnolia, and they have experimented, and they said it can withstand heat and cold, and they're going to send it up, I think, later this year. And because I guess when they re-enter the atmosphere, the metal ones, or the materials that they're made from, have a lot of toxicities in them, toxic materials, and that goes into the atmosphere. So this one does not. So 2 positive things. baby steps, moving forward. There are good people out there trying to change the world. So don't forget that. Okay. Till next time, I appreciate you guys coming by. Subscribe, like, share, comment if you want to.